Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and also press the bell icon to get notifications of our latest videos.
A chef, a restaurateur, an avid traveler, and an LGBT activist. Today I'm at Diva, the Italian restaurant in GK2. I'm going to meet Chef Ritu Dalmia, ask her a lot about women entrepreneurship, the industry, how things have changed, her passion, her style of cooking, and her future plans. Let's come in and have an exciting conversation with her. So like I said, I'm super excited and I'm right now with Chef Ritu Dalmia and really interested to ask some interesting questions. Hi ma'am and welcome to the show.
Don't call me ma'am. Karthik, I will start calling you sir then.
Oh no, that's
Let's
kind
get a
of...
few facts sorted out first and foremost before we go any forward.
Alright,
Okay?
so I can address you as Ritu?
Yes. happy.
Alright.
Yes.
So Ritu, you have been a part of this industry for over 2 decades now.
Over 2 decades. I'm sorry, I would like to be young, I would be hip and happening, but unfortunately in 2023 it'll be 30 years.
So, how do you see the industry has changed over the years, especially with respect to women coming up in the forefront?
The industry, I have gone through 2 sets of changes.
Mm-hmm.
The first set of changes that I went through or saw in the industry was between 93 and 2000.
Okay.
In 1993, I opened my first restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
which was an Italian restaurant outside of a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And that time, all ingredients were banned. You couldn't import any ingredients.
Yeah.
Alcohol license was more or less impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And people had this mindset that good food meant going to a 5-star hotel.
Correct.
So that 93 to 2000 was a very difficult phase.
Mm-hmm.
But at that same time, there were many restaurateurs or passionate cooks who decided that, hang on, we need to come out
Mm-hmm.
and show our food. And
Correct.
Hoskas Village became a complete hub for that.
Correct.
There was one Mexican place, there was an Italian place which was ours, there was Sukuthai by Radhika,
Mm-hmm.
one of the few women I met in the industry at that time which were outside the hotel. In hotel there were some big names, and as women already there was Neeta Nagarajan, there was Chef Madhukrishnan, there was Chef Manisha, but they were all women who decided to work in catering or hospitality, always chose the more, how shall I say, safe bet,
Correct.
which was the hotels.
Correct.
However, when I came back from UK in 2000
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know what to do, so I said, okay, I don't know anything else, let me try my luck again with a restaurant.
Correct.
And this was a big step for me because 93 was not such a good experience.
Mhm.
And Diva happened.
Correct.
And between 2000 and 2021,
Mm-hmm.
I can't keep up with the changes that's happening. It's an explosion. What happened first was in early 2000, international food became better in quality. So it was
Correct.
no longer just the Indianized chaat masala pasta or Indianized shawarmas or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Quality restaurants came across the country,
Mm-hmm.
especially in cities like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore. Calcutta followed the lead much later. So you could say that you could go to a very decent Chinese, Thai, Mexican, Lebanese, Italian food and not necessarily in a hotel and shell out those crazy prices.
Correct.
The second great thing that I saw was the wines. We
Mm.
were the first restaurant in Delhi to have a wine list. Before
Wow.
2000, what you would see on a wine list is red wine Indian, red wine imported,
Mm.
white wine Indian, white wine imported. So we were the first people to have a list, more
Mhm.
for my ego massage more than anything else.
Okay.
And we had about 700 wines from across the world,
Mm-hmm.
labeled, bottled in a right way, stored in a right way, described in a right way. And honestly, it was a beautiful time till 2008 for wine drinking in the country. Unfortunately, after the economic crisis in 2008,
Mm-hmm.
corporate spending went down.
Mm-hmm.
So the top wine sales reduced, but the wine drinking in general
Mm-hmm.
really increased. And
Okay.
then, of course, as I said, it's a phase that went through. We went through an international phase, foreign food phase. But what really, I think, the best thing that happened, especially in the last couple of years, which is still in its nascent stages, is we have started rediscovering our own regional cooking. You know, India is a very strange country. When you talk about restaurant food, you normally talk about Mughlai food or Northwest frontier across. You want to go out, let's go out for a tandoori chicken.
Correct.
But all over the world, when you go out to eat, sometimes, most of the time, actually, it's the food that you would also cook at home. And what I have seen now is there's so many amazing regional food restaurants, home cooked chefs that have come up. And I really think this is going to be something which will take a very big shape in the coming future.
Wow. So you actually tricked my second question.
Huh.
So I really wanted to know, because a lot of fusion experiments are happening, a lot of new cuisines are shaping up. Do you really think these kind of cuisines and experiments people are ready for, or they're still in the nascent stage?
You know, I call fusion confusion. Okay, so I am not a believer of fusion food, and I also think it's a wrong word in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know, creativity and fusion are two different things altogether.
Correct.
You know, just for the heck of saying, okay, I will do, let's say, dosa with, how shall I say, cream butter on top or some French sauce. That's ridiculous. It's not going to work. But yes, if I want to be creative and I want to use a technique in it, or a specific spice, which may not be, let's say, just a methi dana or drumstick, that's another story. So I think whenever, even in the past, when you've seen big fads come in, whether it's molecular cuisine, whether it was foraging, they all did not last too long.
Correct.
Because at the end of the day, what we need is comfort. What we need, what does food do for you? Food provides you comfort. Food is something, it's like being a child again and being in your mother's arms again. That feeling, whether you're depressed, whether you're happy, it provides you, there's something in it that triggers off some emotion in it which makes us feel good about it.
Correct.
And at the end of the day, you can go for all these, fad meals. You may go for it once, you may go for it twice, but that's not something which is very long lasting, at least in my opinion.
Okay, so would I be correct if I say the authentic cuisines would be a long duration
Of course, all
centuries?
this has to.
It's only your take and your addition subtraction that happens.
Absolutely. I mean, who thought? I mean, Diva's in its 21st year. I never thought I will be there. Look at Moti Mahal, been there for God knows 60, 70 years. Look at, traditional food or authentic food, whatever form, whatever cuisine it may be, that's a long term game.
Correct.
People, whatever, may try their different fads, but they will come back to it.
Correct.
So I'm a true believer. I like to experiment with different cuisines. I like to cook different cuisines. But at the end of the day, I will not add confusion to it.
Correct.
Let's put it this way.
Alright. So now the way we all are progressing and everybody's in a fast track mode, you came up with a DIY meal.
Yeah.
Do you think that is the new trend? Do you think people are going to take it up?
Karthik, I don't know trends. If I knew trends, I would be the richest woman in this world. Trust me. Do it yourself actually came out of pure desperation. Italy went into lockdown in February, so all our restaurants shut down there in February. March, India shut down. So I have this whole team. None of the restaurants are working. Our food, especially from Diva, is not very good for deliveries because it has to be something which has to be cooked fresh. Otherwise, pizzas get soggy, the pastas become overcooked. And I was stuck in Goa. So we didn't have a choice. Do it yourself really came out of boredom and out of basically desperation, as I said. And I have to admit, it was a fabulous thing to happen. And I truly believe whoever said that whenever there's a disaster, some opportunity comes out of it, because for us, that's what it was. And it did very well. It's still doing well. But it's still a drop in the ocean where a complete business is concerned. But saying that, I think going forward, it will still continue. It's not a novelty, and it will continue in a bigger way, because also what this pandemic did, it made a home cook out of more or less all of us.
Correct.
Everyone locked in. When you would log into Instagram, Facebook, the only thing you would see is, and some very interesting ones. I mean, I have to admit, I've got inspired by many of the recipes that I saw. So people have rediscovered the joy of cooking.
Correct.
Will this novelty last or not? We are yet to see. But I think in general, a do-it-yourself kit is a great idea. I don't think it's a fad. I don't think it should be a fad. Because at the end of the day, we all like to cook. We all like to eat fresh meals.
Right.
And if someone else is doing the dirty work for us, why not?
I totally agree with you, because I think I also came up with some 85 new dishes when I was
Oh
in
wow,
London.
see, rest
So,
my case. If
yeah.
you want to send me some recipes, feel free to do so.
Definitely. So when you cook, what is that excites you cooking? How did you think that, yes, I am passionate about
You know,
cooking?
I've been cooking since I was very young. You know, everyone else wanted toys, everyone wanted something. I wanted cookbooks.
Okay.
Okay, and when my father used to travel a lot, and their lists used to be Levi's jeans and Wrigley's, mine used to be olive oil and pasta.
Okay.
But I never thought I will take it as a profession. And I have to admit, over the years, somewhere it became very mechanical for me. You know,
Okay.
we opened restaurant after restaurants. I was doing menu after menu, so it almost became like, but the thrill somewhere I think was lost, which I didn't realize till last year.
Okay.
Last year, when I was in Goa and I was stuck in the pandemic, there were no essentials available. Goa was the only state where even vegetables, milk, nothing was available. So I had to really cook out of what was in my pantry. So whatever dal, chawal was there, raw mangoes in the garden, you know, moringa growing somewhere else, kodakoli as, you know, one of the leaves, jackfruit, breadfruit. So I started cooking with what was there and what was available, rather than thinking, oh, I wish I could cook this, and for this I need so and so ingredient.
Correct.
And in some ways, the pleasure of cooking came back to me.
All right.
And honestly, today, if you ask me what gives me pleasure in cooking, is not making a shopping list anymore.
Okay.
Now it is challenging yourself that, okay, I have one piece of tomato, I have 2 pieces of hari mirch, I have 1 can of yogurt. What the hell can I do out of this?
Okay.
And that is my biggest thrill, and let's say my new novelty at the moment.
Okay. So a good cook is usually the one who travels a lot.
Yes.
Correct. You have been an avid traveler.
Yes.
So what do you think when you go to a place? Do you like to try something which is like a known restaurant, or do you want to try something which is traditionally cooked somewhere?
So I do a bit of both. So I've really been traveling a lot, and unfortunately that has come to a standstill in last 1 year.
Correct.
But for me, my entire food education has been via traveling.
Correct.
I've not gone to a cooking school. I don't plan to go to one.
Mhm.
I didn't work with fancy chefs. I did not work in a hotel. So I didn't have any of that experience. But I managed to get myself the best possible experience, which was traveling. So every time I traveled, for me it was important not only to try the restaurants, but to manage a way to wrangle an invitation out of a local's house where I could eat at his home,
Okay.
go to street food. So it has to be a complete experience. And when young kids come to me today and say that, you know, what should we do? Shall we work in a hotel or a restaurant? I say, forget it. Just pack a backpack and travel in the country whose food you love.
Okay.
And try it in every nook and corner, and that's the best education you can give yourself. So in fact, most of the food that I cook actually has been inspired by various travels. So in late 2010-12, I suddenly started traveling a lot in Asia.
Correct.
And suddenly I developed a love for Asian food. So I was traveling all over, coming home, trying it, shaking it in a cocktail, recipes from Malaysia, Burma, etc. And something new would come out. And that's how our restaurant Diva Spiced happened, which unfortunately shut down during the pandemic, but we hope to reopen it soon. So traveling, eating is a state of mind. And for me, it's also been something that has kept me evolved, which has not let boredom come in. And the minute the pandemic is over, I'm going to Ethiopia to travel, to eat and learn.
Okay. So which is your first travel memory that you have? Like, this is the place I went to and this is what I tried.
So my first travel memory is of course Italy.
Mm-hmm.
I was 10-year-old. I went on a school trip, 1 month school trip, and of course school had no budgets. So every night we were given the same meal because it was the cheapest that you could get in Italy, which was either a spaghetti with tomato sauce
Okay.
or it was a minestrone soup.
Okay.
Every other child was complaining about it, and I could not wait to get my next bowl of spaghetti pomodoro. So that was really my first taste of international food on my first travel out, and it's still something which is my most comforting food.
Okay. Now, just changing a little topic here. You have been an active activist as well.
Oh.
So, do you think the verdict is it's going to come in April? But what do you think? Has the perception the people changed? Are they more open to the idea? What is your take
So
on
you're
it?
talking about 377 here. So
Yeah.
377, as we all know, was abolished in 2018,
Correct.
which basically made it decriminalized.
Correct.
But that didn't change much.
Hmm.
As in that, yes, I will not be arrested for being homosexual, but do I have any rights? I don't. So there's a case going on in High Court right now. Verdict whether it will come on April 25th, we don't know, because that's the next hearing.
Correct.
The last hearing, it was the opposition or the central government which gave its reply per se. So I don't know. I'm hoping that something positive will come out of it. I'm hoping that there will be some positivity and some education and common sense which will work with the judges. But legal is one part of it. There's another very big part to the problem. And as you mentioned, that problem is education.
Correct.
So, in every home, till the mothers don't tell their children that, guys, this is okay and this is a way of life.
Correct.
Starting from the smallest of villages till every school does not teach their children that homosexuality is a part of life and there's nothing abnormal about it.
Correct.
This change will not happen. So we have a long way to go. I mean, in other Western countries where it was abolished, same-sex marriages were allowed way before. Even there, the general acceptance is still slowly reaching up. So it is a big challenge in front of us. But saying that, in last 2 years, I was invited to so many schools to speak about it. So many parents were asking that I have hope. I'm an optimistic.
All right. Great. So now coming up to some interesting rapid fire.
Yes.
Hope I'm able to trick you somewhere here.
Let's see. Okay, I better be careful.
Okay. So the first thing you cooked and you messed it up.
The first thing that I cooked was macaroni with baked beans and Amul cheese. It was completely burnt, but my parents still said it was delicious.
Okay. If you were not a chef, what would you be?
A DJ.
What kind of music?
Oh, all sorts. I'm a closeted DJ.
Okay. 5 favorite pizza toppings.
Wrong question. Because for me, pizza has to be a margherita. Just with mozzarella and basil. I told you I'm a purist.
Okay. This an Indian street food that you would run for.
Raj Kachori. My
Okay.
all-time favorite.
Okay. An imaginary dish you wish to create.
The imaginary dish I would like to create. Well, do I have to be Mars for it? No, as long as I can eat it. So,
Eat it.
imaginary dish that I would like to create is actually not a dish but a machine. A photocopying machine which can photocopy pizzas all day long for me.
Okay. So you mentioned that you would like to travel to Ethiopia.
Yes.
But if I have to give you a time to travel back in time to see what cuisines were where,
Yeah.
what time era would you like to go?
I would like to actually go back to the World War II
Mhm.
era because that was, I think, where so many interesting things happened, where people learned how to cook without any ingredients available. That was a time carrot cake was invented because
Yeah.
carrot was a sugar part, red velvet cake, corn flour, Nutella. Nutella is a World War II product because it tastes like chocolate but it has no chocolate in it. So I think World War II would be a very, very interesting time for me to see how one can eat frugally yet well.
Okay. A spice which is underrated.
Ragni. It's actually a spice from East Bengal and looks a bit like ajwain but is a lot more peppery.
Okay.
And most of the people don't even know about it. Neem is my favorite spice, but Ragni I have learned to love, and it's a shame and a pity how little people know about it.
Okay. A movie title that well defines you.
Movie title that's well defined. Way too many, my dear boy, way too many. Like Water for Chocolate.
Okay. A song which is always on your playlist.
Yes, there's Throw Me a Rope,
Uh-huh.
which is by Katie Tunstall. I
Mhm.
love the words of it. I just love the words of it.
Okay. And finally, your inspiration in life.
My inspiration in life, again, been too many, but the person who got me into Italian food was a chef called Rose Gray, who
Mhm.
used to run the River Cafe in London. She's
Mhm.
passed away, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And when I ate at her restaurant the first time, I was 17, and I told myself, if ever I open a restaurant, I want it to be like that. So
Oh.
she's been a very big inspiration to me.
All right. On that note, thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, Karthik.
And of course, you guys have understood a formal degree is not required. If you are passionate, if you have love for food, and if you want to travel and explore the world, you can bring it on your table, on your plate. On that note, thank you for watching this episode.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation. So if you liked what I spoke to her about, do like, share, comment, and subscribe on this channel. More coming up soon.